Most people are never really alive. They die before they're dead. They wake up every morning and call it life. But it's not. It's survival. They don't move through life. Life moves through them. They are not steering the ship. They are passengers, drifting along currents they never chose, on routes designed by others, with destinations they never questioned. They call it being realistic. They call it growing up. But all it really means is they stopped dreaming. They stopped reaching. They stopped burning. They traded wonder for certainty, risk for routine, purpose for permission. And so they live in a cage with the door wide open. And when they're old, if they ever stop long enough to reflect, they realize something terrifying, that the pain of trying and failing was never as bad as the pain of never having tried at all. I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. Nietzsche didn't write that for the winners. He wrote it for the ones who try anyway, who show up to fight a war they might never win. Because here's the truth: victory is not guaranteed. Glory is not promised. The mountain doesn't owe you anything, but you climb it anyway, because the climb is what makes you alive. There is a certain nobility in the attempt, a sacred fire in doing something even when failure is inevitable. Not for applause, not for success, but because it is the only life worth living. A life without risk is not safety. It's slow-motion death. People will try to tame you, shrink you, put you in a box they understand, because your hunger reminds them of their apathy. Your courage exposes their comfort. They will mock your ambition, laugh at your dreams, call you naive, but never forget: the ones who call you crazy have already surrendered. You were not born to repeat yesterday. You were not born to walk someone else's path. You were not born to merely survive. You were born to burn, to push the limits of what is possible, to test the edges of your own becoming. And yes, it might kill you, but a meaningful death is better than a meaningless life. They will tell you, be careful. Don't aim too high. You might fall. And you will answer, I would rather fall chasing heaven than stand safely in hell. Because standing still is not safety. Standing still is decay. You were not built for the shore. You were built for the storm, and the storm recognizes its own. So stop asking for signs. Stop waiting for permission. Stop negotiating with your potential. There is no perfect moment. There is no guarantee. There is only now. Step forward anyway. This world wasn't built by people who played it safe. It was built by the reckless, the unreasonable, the ones who dared to ask, why not me? The ones who looked at the impossible and said, if I perish in the attempt, then so be it. At least I'll die with my soul on fire. Let them say what they want. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. You don't need them. You don't need applause. You need one thing only: the will to go beyond. To look at your limits and walk past them like they were ghosts. There is something holy about the attempt. The way your hands shake when you reach too far. The way your heart breaks when you give too much. The way your body aches from carrying dreams too heavy for this world. But you do it anyway, because the only alternative is to shrink, to decay, to betray what you could have been. I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. That is not a quote. That is a declaration. It is a funeral for mediocrity. It is a challenge to every soul that can still hear itself screaming inside. So here's your question. Will you die full of potential? Or will you die empty, having poured everything into the fight. Because the goal was never to live forever. The goal is to live in a way that even death stands back and nods in respect. Let them bury your body, but let your story remain. The story of someone who tried, who bled, who risked, who burned, who lived.